All right, guys, now before we jump into the technical content of the course, what do you say that we take a look at what Neustar has found out after surveying nearly 450 companies in North America? Now, they surveyed about security breaches, attacks the companies face, and the losses in those cases. Now, they've taken feedback from various industry segments to make sure that the survey is not titled towards one specific industry segment. Now, I'm sure that you're very much interested to know these findings. Now, the report is really an eye-opener for anyone who reads it. So here are the key findings from the report. But first, let me tell you one thing before we get into the details of the report. The findings really are not astonishing, but they are a reiteration of what we all generally know about security threats. The losses, etc., they're real for sure.
Absolutely. And it has been found that DDoS attacks are more unpredictable than ever. I mean, we weren't surprised by that, but that's the case. DDoS attacks keep evolving in strategy and tactics. We're finding that attackers are using smoke screening to divert the attention of the IT technical staff to issues that are not as important to an attacker. And while the IT staff is busy working on those issues triggered by the attack, well, the attackers are smart. They're recharging the victim to ensure or insert malware to breach into target or victim systems to steal confidential and, of course, useful data.
Yeah, exactly.
So most victim companies reported theft of funds, data, or intellectual property. Now, think about this interesting fact, Ammon. These cyber attacks are intense, but they're pretty short-lived. The attacks are more focused on what the criminals want to achieve than on actually crippling in the long term the system, right?
Okay.
So the number of victim companies has gone up significantly, and the attack duration is actually down.
Absolutely.
Larger attacks are prevalent, but most attacks are still less than 1 gigabyte per second. So let us note that downing the system is no longer the only intent of the attackers. They want to negatively impact the system or the network, and of course they may want to steal confidential information.
That's right, Jeff. And companies report a greater financial risk during a DDoS outage. Now, interestingly, most companies still rely on traditional defenses like firewalls. Right? Now, most companies still are not using purpose-built solutions like DDoS mitigation hardware or cloud services. They understand that threat level is higher than it used to be.
Of course.
So businesses perceive the DDoS attack threat as real. Now, in 2013, DDoS continued to cripple websites, shut down operations, and cost millions of dollars in downtime, customer service, and brand damage. So, Jeff, what do you think your company must do? Well, before we answer this, let's look at some statistics. Nearly 60% of companies report being attacked in 2013. Almost 90% of those attacked were hit repeatedly. 55% of DDoS targets were victims of theft, funds, customer data, or intellectual property. Attack duration is down, but the number of attacks between 1 to 5 gigabits shot up nearly 3 times. So how are companies impacted by these attacks?
A lot, actually. Yeah, apart from the financial risk and loss of information, the biggest hit we're finding is on the use of excessive manpower to protect. DDoS drains manpower. 57% of companies have 6 or more people to mitigate DDoS attacks. Now, this is a huge cost and eats right into your IT budget, which is small enough as it is, right? So risks of estimated outage losses of $1 million a day are common. 40% of companies suffer this much or more. Let us understand that DDoS is costly across the enterprise. Customer service and other public-facing areas are now getting impacted in addition to IT and security. Now, in protecting against DDoS attacks, companies must ask this very important question. What may they lose if they're attacked? How do they protect against attacks? Well, they must have rigorous risk, threat, and cost analysis in place.
That's right, Jeff. You know, one thing, before concluding, I want you to remember that predicting DDoS is as slippery as the attacks themselves. So don't get caught in that slippery slope of trying to predict the attack. Having listened to the report, let's get into what denial of service and distributed denial of services are and how we manage when they hit us.